Hey, man, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, man, I can hear you.
Perfect. Well, welcome back, everybody, to Mid-Tier Thoughts. We're back on here after our Easter break. I am joined today by Sleepwalker Hart, who also runs the Drunken ODST. Super cool dude. And you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, man. I'm Hart. Live in South Alabama. Just just a normal dude. Likes all the cool guy stuff, man.
Perfect. See, that's what we do here. That's why we have fun.
That's right.
So yeah, you know, from my experience, I've had a lot of conversations with you behind the scenes, a lot of similar mindset when it comes to a lot of things. And I think that you really help exemplify what we wanted to do with this podcast of really showing that, like, you don't have to be anything special in particular to really get out and train and know what you're doing, and that everyone brings something to the table, right?
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
and I like, reiterating the fact that, I'm looking at this to where it's like, yes, it's fantastic to have people in this community that have law enforcement or military backgrounds. They bring a wealth of knowledge, but there's also people who can have literally none of that and be fantastic people for this community that bring a wealth of knowledge in a wide variety of things. And that, you know, average husbands and fathers like us that are working full-time jobs, we've got outside commitments, we've got everything else going on, and a full-time life, we can still find the time to go out and to train and to figure out like what we need to do to keep our families good to go.
Yeah, like I said, just we working a 50-hour work week, and then come home. I have a small homestead and I have to take care of, and then make sure I'm providing time and support to my family, and then after I get them to bed, usually I have like a time for me, so I research or hang out on Instagram, or go to my shop and actually work on my kit, or work out. Actually, like I said, that's when I was trying to find time to better myself, was within that hour that after I put the kids to bed.
And as a husband and a father myself, I totally understand that hour or two I get after the kids go to sleep, between then and when I go to sleep, is when most of my stuff gets done. That's the golden hour right there.
It is.
But
And
yeah, oh, go ahead.
you go ahead.
I
Sorry,
was
man.
no,
I'm full of awkward silence, man.
no, you're good. Um, so yeah, I mean, we're kind of winging it this one, right? So it
Oh
might
yeah.
be a little, but yeah. So for those that, I think one of the big things is that for those of us who are who've got full-time jobs, who've got family commitments, we've got children, we've got a wife, we got things going on in life, we got things we have to do outside of just being able to train. I think sometimes, and I know you can speak to this a little bit, it can be kind of a challenge at times to find people to train with, or to find the time to find people to train with. Kind of, the whole idea of find your tribe, right? That we always talk about, yes, it's good to have those skills alone, but you can never, um, you can't be a lone wolf, right? You got to have a team. You got to have people you're partnered with, and that can be really challenging for some people, whether it be a matter of social skill, whether it be a matter of just not knowing where to look, or a matter of just not having the time. So, like, what would you say your experience has kind of been with that?
Yeah, actually, I'll go ahead, and I was actually complete opposite. For the longest time, I didn't tell anybody about, like, I'm always been on the prepared side. Like I have all the guns, all the gear, and stuff like that. And I just never even told anybody. Like, people would be in complete conversations talking about what they want to do. I just kind of sit back. It was under the philosophy is like, I don't want people to know what I have, and I was like this for the longest time. And it occurred to me, like, I'm not going to be able to survive by myself. I mean, granted, I'm down here with a small group of my family and some friends, but I was like, we're severely undercapable in some areas, and I've very recently kind of branched out. And one of my buddies was like, "Oh, hop on Instagram. There's a lot of cool gun guys on Instagram." Not huge on, just a little bit of Facebook at the time. And he was right, man. Like I said, a lot of cool guys, like include yourself, the men green eyes. I mean, just all kinds of cool dude. Actual stacker. He's like, I talk to him daily. He makes sure he lets me know he loves me. But
he's a super awesome guy.
Oh yeah, a lot of romances. And then, but
I
yeah,
think
like
part
I said,
of it too. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, like, well, and then, like I said, recently, I got on Instagram and started reaching out. I didn't really have a tribe. I had nowhere to. Actually, talk to you. Like I said, I was like, man, how are you getting these guys together and doing all this cool stuff? And like I said, started putting everything out there on Facebook, and all my other friends were like, "Oh, I didn't know you were into this. I didn't know you did this. That you never told us you had night vision." I was like, "Yeah, I kind of kept it a secret." And so, it's opened up more doors, like with people in my community. Like I said, they know what I'm doing on Instagram. They know what I'm doing, with an actual group I've recently found. Like I said, it's, kind of find your tribe thing. Like I said, these guys reached out to me and said they were putting something together, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." They really didn't know me, like, personally, but did an interview with them, and they brought me on board. And dude, it's been amazing. Like I said, a super cool group of guys, very knowledgeable from like all aspects, from military to law enforcement, and just a couple really good, very prepared citizens in there. So
Yeah, I think it's interesting thinking back on it, on like how my mindset kind of got started with like the idea of prepping and everything. And I think back to like when like the early 2010s, when Doomsday Preppers was big on TV, and everything was a zombie movie, and the zombie apocalypse was the big thing. And oh, what are you going to do when the zombies come, right? And that was like the idea of prepping at that time was, it was to keep it a secret. Like, it was like, don't flash anything, don't tell anybody anything, just you and yours, stick to yourself, and just hide in your hidey hole, and don't let anyone know you have anything. If anyone comes to your house for food, like, they're not getting any, and just, kick them out the curb, right? And that mentality, I think, stuck around
Yep.
for a long time. And I see where people come from with that idea of like, hey, you don't want to let everybody know, so you don't have the unprepared just showing up, being like, hey, we're here to take your stuff. But at the same time, like, that's not how you build community. And I look at the idea, kind of a back and forth, where I see both sides, where I look at it where it's like, if you are a member of your community, right, to a certain extent prior to a bad thing happening, to where people like you, they're way less likely to mess with you during an event than they would the guy on the block that they don't know, that they think's a weirdo or a douche.
Yeah.
If you've got those positive friendships already made, then, and then at that point, if those people are the unprepared, as long as it's not taking food out of your mouth, if you do have extra supplies, like, you can build really positive relationships that way. You can ensure your own safety. You can buy people's loyalty, I guess, in that way. That you don't have to be this hidey hole douchebag, which I think is kind of how things started, for a lot of us. And that now, as we've kind of been in this a little bit more, and we start to see things kind of take a certain turn in our country and around the world, the realization that, like, hey, I can't do this alone. I have to sleep sometime, is
yeah, exactly.
more prevalent.
And like, just the person, you're kind of reach out to and build these relationships to making, like, there's community kind of thing. Everybody in your community does something different, and they usually, my neighbor across the street, he's an excellent mechanic. I mean, dirt bikes, boats. I mean, super awesome guy. That's that's the kind of guy I want to partner with. I'm more agriculture. I have like agriculture background, farming, cows. I got a huge chicken coop. And like I said, I'm gonna need my tractor worked on, and he's gonna need eggs. Like I said, that's that kind of partnership.
You bring up a good point with that. I know Boogeyman Actual had a post about this the other day, and basically, to boil it down, is we were kind of talking about, everyone wants to have the thousands of dollars of Gucci gear and, operator level everything. And for spare food, they have like one can of beans,
Yeah, exactly.
You can't eat lead or brass unless you're Kurt Cobain, and it doesn't turn out that well when you do. So, you gotta be able to have. I think that's one of those things. You watch any of these prepper channels or whatever, and they'll tell you, the first thing is to make sure that you have food and water and shelter. And so like we to have extra food and medical supplies and things stored up, because one, there's just so many scenarios in which you'll need that more than you will need a firearm. But two, it doesn't matter if you've got 30,000 rounds of ammunition and the best weaponry that known to man. If you can't eat, that sucks. You're gonna die.
Exactly. Yeah, and my whole mindset has shifted the past year. Like I come from like a competitive background, gun shooting background, and I started seeing all these like I would say Minuteman groups, but yeah, these community groups that are trying to better themselves and prepare their neighbor, and now I'm more skill focused. Like I want to learn, I want to learn skills like land nav. Like I learned land nav like 2 months ago, and it's like been one of the funnest things ever. And just other skills like this that like I don't even care about like the gun aspect of it anymore. It's about that next level skill that I'm going to be able to take with me down the road, not necessarily the firearm.
I like to tell people in the gun world who aren't real big on the training aspect, that are more competition minded or more just like fun kind of stuff. And I like to refer to it like this, where I'm like, I don't really care if you're the best marksman out there. I would rather take 12 dudes that are are okay with a rifle, but they've got a solid skill set in literally everything else that I need, than take the 12 best shooters I know that don't have any skills and go do something. Um, because I mean, like when the stuff hits the fan, all that stuff's going to go out the window anyway, right? And I want to make sure I've got people that I can rely on that have a certain number of skills, and I've got medical guys, I've got people that are just killer at land nav, comms dudes. I got everything I need, and we can figure out the marksmanship, right? I can teach you to shoot better, a lot easier than I can to teach you a skill set like that. So I don't know, I always look at it that way, where I'm like, I'll rather take some people that are decent enough with a rifle rather than the guy that should get a sub-second draw, but doesn't know how to start a fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather have the fire than the firepower.
Exactly. I mean, because when it comes down to these things, right? I think for the most part, in all reality, is like we all like the sexy stuff. We all like the idea of getting in our kit with our nods and room clearing, house to house, and doing operator type stuff. But in the reality, where I'm looking at it, it's like we have zero support outside of ourselves. So any firefight I can avoid is a win. Like I'd much rather have to just have a rifle on my back while I'm digging up potatoes than I would to ever have to go start doing CQB in a building. Like,
oh yeah,
that's my idea of that is hey, the occasional raider coming by, pop, get off my yard, versus like, all right boys, stack up, we're going into town.
Load up in the minivan.
Yeah, load up in the minivan. Like don't forget the juice box and the chicken nuggies. We got to go do a raid. But yeah, I think that's kind of my thing, is I think that you're starting to see that kind of shift too in the community as well, where people are starting to shift away from this idea of I have to have the super dope helmet and plate carrier setup and all the bells and whistles,
and people are starting to shift a little bit more to, okay, maybe I just need some like good enough equipment, like not just as good, but like actually good. But I don't need, to be dropping all like every dollar I have on the kit. I can get decent enough kit to start, but then I can start building my skill sets. I can start building up my mindset, building up my training with my guys, finding that tribe, which I know for a lot of people I know can be really hard. I know you and I have spoke about, sometimes there's challenges with that. You never really know, what you're going to get into with different groups. And I highly recommend anyone listening, like if you do find a group of people to train with, like definitely like vet the group. You know what I mean? Like don't just jump right into it and be like, oh, everything is fine, because you never know who you're dealing with, and you want to do your best to get
Not
to
at
know them
all.
before you dive in. Yeah. I know you
Yeah.
and I have both talked about, circumstances we've had where, you get certain people that seem like everything's okay. And then maybe 2 or 3 trainings in, you're like, this guy's a freaking nut job. And, you got to make that decision about, do we kick the guy out or not? Or, how does this affect our group and the dynamic of those we train with?
Yeah, like I said, one person can put the whole group at jeopardy. I mean, you're seeing that, on the news with the kid that leaked all those documents. I won't get into that. That's a whole nother can of worms. But I mean, they're throwing everybody under the bus on that. So just because he
Yeah.
was in a gaming group with these guys, so
And I highly recommend, in my opinion, like for anyone who is really seeking that tribe, trying to find similar people, is whatever your ideas and values are. Like I highly recommend finding people that are very closely in tune with those. For example, the group of guys I'm with, most of us are late 20s to early 40s, married with children, and most of us come from share religious views, share political views. We're pretty similar across the board. And part of that, the nice thing about that is it builds a certain sense of unity where we don't have certain divisions that could be a problem, but we
yep.
also have the same mindset. And because we all have children, we all have this mentality that like we don't want to do anything stupid to jeopardize the group or our families. So we're not going to be like the thing I think of for this is like every time I remember, like going to like Pro 2A rallies and dudes would show up, tacked out to the gills. And I'd be like, if our goal here is to try to get people to win them over to the Second Amendment, like this isn't going to do it. And on top of that, like we're just peacocking at this point. Like we're not doing this for anything else other than just flashing off. So I don't know. That's kind of my thing is it's like, that one person that comes to do that puts a bad taste in everyone's mouth. And so you got to do the same thing with the groups you're a part of. And also, too, the big thing is not just vetting the people themselves, but also like, if you've got someone like being open minded to learn from new people, but also being willing to know that like not everybody knows everything and some people are just full of shit.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, even some of your instructors you go to, the typical NRA instructor. I love those guys, man, because they know everything and you know nothing.
it's
um,
it's fun. It's funny too because like to be an NRA instructor, I think you just have to like do an online class and go to a course. Like literally anyone can do it.
Yeah, usually if I bring up gun conversation, they're like, "Oh, I'm an NRA instructor." And like, that's like it's like CrossFitting. That's the first thing they're going to tell you. I'm
Yeah,
like, "Oh, okay. Well, the conversation's over now."
it's gotten almost to a point where it's like if you tell me that you're NRA certified, I'm like, maybe I'll find somebody else.
But let's see. The My train of thought's about dead, man. I've been working hard in the garden. Like I said, I'm a week behind on planting, so I've been busting my butt on getting everything done and planted all in one day. So
Well, let's kind of shift gears a little bit then, and that's something I did want to kind of pick your brain about. Let's say for someone who's getting in there ahead of got an idea in their head about homesteading. kind of this Minuteman homestead preparedness type of deal. I know a lot of us kind of, are either there or we want to be there. What would kind of be your advice for someone starting out with that? Let's say they've just bought a plot of land and they're like, well, now what?
I'd go ahead. First thing, chickens, man. Chickens are excellent. Garbage disposals, like I said, you're pretty much like any of your scraps you give to them, and they're going to give you eggs in return. They're also going to build that responsibility kind of mentality. You're going to have to take care of them. They're a living animal, and like I said, they usually, well, a lot of times they don't take up a lot of space. I mean, you can keep them in like the little chicken tractors. Like I said, I have a nice chicken coop and chicken tractors that I rotate out because, chicken tractor, it's like a little mobile coop that you just drag around the yard. I drag it over some of my garden spots to help, refertilize the land right there. And like I said, you get eggs. I mean, you can eat it. Breed that is good with laying and meat, so they're dual purpose birds. So they, best of both worlds. And then, you kind of have to, know what you're growing, what time of year. And then also, like, the things you grow, like, you can't just keep growing the same things in the same spot. You're going to have to learn crop rotation, kind of learn what kind of crops, bring nutrients back to the soil. Composting is huge. People don't do that anymore. Like I said, the ag farming is all chemical based. It's not. We can go like way off and left. I don't get. Like, so taking care of your soil. Like I said, if you're tending nutrients back, coffee grinds. I mean, really taking care. Composting. I mean, feeding that soil. That soil is a living organism itself, and taking care of it will take care of you in the long run if you're trying to grow anything. But squashes is always fun. Zucchinis, cucumbers, watermelons are great beginner crop. I mean, there's plenty of fun things that are easy to grow. There's other things that are harder to grow. But yeah, sorry about that.
You're all good. But yeah, I think that, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. You're cutting you off.
Yeah, my bad, bud. Like tomatoes, we love growing tomatoes here. Like I said, stuff that you can or freeze. High yield crop. Being able to get your seeds back, dry them out and use them again next year. That's another like weird prepper thing. Like, I mean, I'll make sure I can reproduce my crop again.
Yeah, I think that's that's the big thing for me is like for the idea of the homesteading is with the new job I'm getting into and being able to finally get a house, that's something I'm looking forward to doing, and starting a garden and hopefully getting some chickens. And so I think there's a lot of us that if we're not already there yet, that is the goal, is to be off on our own, doing our own thing and try to be self-sufficient, right? Because my thing is, you've got rising food prices, you've got everything else going crazy in the world. And, the more things you can control, the less reliant upon the government you be, so the more food you can grow, the more crops you can grow and sustain, the more things you can provide for yourself. The less you have to rely and worry about the craziness of the world out there.
Absolutely, man. And like that's been one of the fun things too. It's great for the whole family. Like I said, my kids are fully involved with the chickens. We just started rabbits this year. That's been a little bit of a learning curve, but we bunnies and we got all kind of cute little names for them. But I'm gonna call them dinner.
I think that's one thing too, especially like with raising kids, with having those animals, that builds that sense of responsibility and kind of the reality of the way the world works at a young age to, kind of help them learn in that sense. So, of hey, this is where food comes from, and I think that's an important lesson.
Yeah, man. And like I said, I got 20 acres down here, and I got a good bit of pasture. I actually have cows on the land. They're not my cows. Like I said, I'd really like to get into a little bit of cattle farming later on down the road. I'm just not there yet. But that's another there to learn. Like I said, I'm pretty familiar with it, but yeah, a fun endeavor for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think the homesteading part is a part of the Minuteman type of ideology I want to see grow a little bit more. I think it's something that I think a lot of us in this community could definitely learn from. And for those of us who are in the are in the space to be able to do so, I think it's something that that's the dream, right? Be up on a mountainside,
man.
or rural piece of land, and just be off on your own, doing your own thing, looking for the Wendigo. But yeah,
this has been me and my wife's dream. Like, we live in Auburn, Alabama for about 9 years. And like I said, it was just to come home and start a farm, man. That was
well, and I think that's the thing, right? Just like just you got to put like that obligatory like based um in there somewhere for that. But yeah, I think that's the goal, man. That's the goal of this whole Minuteman thing. That's the goal of like, hey, if things go south, if anything collapses, like that's where we all want to be, is self-sufficient. So I think it's awesome that you're doing that. I think it's awesome, that you're able to find that a tribe to train with, and a group of guys that shared values, and be able to go out there and put in the time and the work. I think that's the other thing too. I kind of want to shift gears a little bit about, and I've talked with um, Boogeyman Actual a little bit. I've talked with Military Nights on this a little bit on the show. Is I think that my Instagram experience with here is finding, with finding people in this similar culture has been really awesome, and really a positive experience, because it definitely, for me, it makes it feel like I'm not alone with my ideas. That other people are out there thinking the same things. We're able to bounce ideas off each other. I know you and I have had phone calls before where we've talked for quite a while, bouncing ideas off each other, and what our thoughts on different things were, and different aspects of such. I know we've got, kind of a behind the scenes chat with where we discuss a little bit more in depth. And I think that's the really awesome thing about this community, is that we're all just looking to help each other out, and none of us are crapping on each other. None of us are out here trying to promote one over the other, and we're all trying to help each other rise and help each other learn.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, like I said, everybody brings something different to the table. Like Boogeyman, dude. Like I wouldn't be kind of halfway where I am right now if it wasn't for Boogie putting on a match close to me. Like I said, it was pretty neat. I was thinking, one of my buddies, he got me on the Instagram. He told me up Boogeyman anyway, and seen Boogie was having this field day, and like I thought it was just a little competition. You come out there, but nah, man, it's full kit. We're having to do burpees. I've never done burpees in my life, and 20, a bunch of targets. I mean, it was pretty intense, and it was August or July, and it was hot as all. And like I said, I did okay in the match, but I can get back in the game. Like I said, and like I said, that was very eye opening and confidence boosting. And like I said, and if it wasn't for him, like I said, meeting there, Boogie's super nice. Just a good guy, and we've had a few conversations, and kind of got me back where I need to be focused on some things. So
yeah, my chat with him was really awesome, and I think the one thing too that like I know you and I have talked about as well is being married guys with two kids, we've accepted the dad bod life,
to a certain extent. But I think also seeing, talking with you, you've been doing like, fairly regular ruck marches in kit, or not in kit, but at least in your with your ruck bag, your rucksack out there, and putting in the miles and getting in the work. And I think that's, you've been doing it. You go out to work, you work your long day, you come home, you deal with the family, you get everyone to bed, and then you know you're like, hey, not enough, got to go put on my pack and go get my time in. And I think that that's something that a lot of us, we think like, oh man, I came home from work, I got the kids to bed, now it's time for me to sit down and watch my insert whatever TV show I'm going to do here, or play the video game here. There's always going to be time for that. There's not going to always be time to keep yourself motivated and to get up and go, get that time in and that workout in. I mean, for me, I think I really applaud you for that, for doing that. I think that says a lot, and about taking it seriously, and making sure that our job as husbands and as fathers is to be ready to protect and provide for our families, and part of that is to make sure that we're physically capable of doing so.
Yeah, one of my main factors for driving that is like one of those motivational posters, but it's the your enemy's training harder than you are right now, and that kind of mindset. I just don't. I want to be an asset any time of the day. So that kind of keeps me pushing right there, thinking there, somebody's actually, whoever's trying to kill me is training harder than I am. So
exactly. I think what was it? There was one I heard, and it was like, so out there somewhere there's a child molester who's stronger than you, and if the day comes, if the day comes where you have to try to save a kid, don't let him knock your ass out. Like, be stronger than that guy. And I was like, hey, that's pretty fair motivation.
That is some solid motivation.
But absolutely, I think that's the thing is, when everyone talks smack and makes jokes about Minutemen types, right? Because there's a stereotype, right? There's a stereotype of it's an overweight dude who's 60 plus with Confederate flag cowboy hat and a 3%er tattoo, right? When in reality, that's not the case at all.
Roll Tide.
Right? And yeah, right. In reality, like, that's not the case for who we are, and and the kind of lifestyle that we live or anything. And so I think that's the thing, is that when we all kind of see the writing on the wall that bad times are coming, right? And so there's going to be desperate people. And so I look at myself to where I want myself to be in a position where I am prepared mentally, physically, storage wise. Like, I've got food, water, shelter, medical supplies, but I've also got the training and knowledge to do what I need to do to survive. That I've helped train my family so that they can survive as well. Even if I'm not there. And I think, again, like, that idea of like the homesteading is a huge part of that, because it does kind of help teach your children about how to grow your own food, the way that the world works. It's unfortunately sometimes some of the hard lessons of life, like, hey, how do you think the chicken got on our plate?
Yep.
And sometimes those are necessary lessons, that we have to learn, and those are really easy ways to teach them, and kids are really receptive to that. But I think that's the thing too, is being not just mentally and like, mentally very fit, but physically fit as well, because a lot of those things go hand in hand. And you can have, similar to the thing of not having the food, you can have all the Gucci gear and all the badass guns and equipment and even some of the training, but if you can't make it a quarter mile down the road without having to stop for a Snickers, like, we got a problem. But yeah. So shifting gears a little bit more. So I know you're a bit of a Halo fan.
Yeah, I'm ODST fan. Let's get it right. Spartans suck. ODST rules.
So for me, for those who don't know, my buddy here, Hart, he has a night vision mount on his ODST helmet, which gives it the most amazing appearance I've ever seen.
It is. It is such a sick look, man.
You really got to check out his Instagram if you haven't seen it. It is like, but by bar none, some of the coolest stuff I've ever seen. Your recent video with the send me portion from Fury with the ODST skit is like really phenomenal. I think it's fantastic. They definitely get you motivated for sure. At least I saw it and got goosebumps.
I know there's a lot of people that really like that one. Like I said, I'm learning how to. I'm trying to learn how to meme and create cool stuff like that. Like I said, Instagram brings out a little bit of a creative side that I've always had, but I'm kind of old, like caveman, when it comes to technology. So I'm having to learn how to, like, actually make memes.
Well, I think that's part of the cool thing is, as you get to explore a little bit of that creativity while, maintaining with everybody else, we all get to support each other and kind of see those cooler sides of each other. So for me, it's like it's kind of shifting gears, it's like growing up with Halo, that was like the cool war game growing up, that and Call of Duty. And I've always had a bit of attachment to Halo. I don't think quite as strong as you have, but I always think like the idea of having a universe where, we're actually not doing so hot in the war against the aliens, I thought was actually kind of a cool take on it. Because, it's like, it was always stereotypical where it's like we're either entirely evenly matched or we're just mopping the floor with the aliens.
Yeah. This one we were totally getting our ass kicked until we partnered with the elites.
Yeah, and I think being the ODST fan, I don't know. Are you very familiar with Warhammer 40K at all?
Yeah, I am. Like I said, I'm a turbo nerd when it comes to Hart, but I've never played 40K just because I always heard it was expensive, and I was like, I don't need another expensive hobby.
So I've never gotten around to playing the tabletop. I think I bought a thing of minis once and realized it was not financially worth it. But the lore is always what gets me. And to me, it's like kind of the same thing between the ODST and the Imperial Guard. And for those who listening that aren't into this, just buckle up because this is going to be turbo nerd time. It's always to me like the thing that gets me that's more compelling about them than it is like Master Chief or like the Space Marines in 40K is like you expect those guys to be badasses, right? Because like they're genetically mutated super soldiers. They're 1,000-pound man beasts wearing tanks into battle. Like you expect them to be one-man armies, right?
Yeah.
But when the average guy with a rifle just drops out of the sky and is expected to, fight like unknown galaxy-made horrors beyond his comprehension and still does it heroically, that's where I'm like, that guy's super cool. He's way cooler than like the man tank,
That's right. Feet first, motherfucker.
Yeah, feet first into hell. Oh man. Well, that's like I remember when they brought out that Forward Unto Dawn movie, the live action Halo movie, and I remember it came out in like on YouTube, I think originally in little spurts, or maybe Netflix or something like that. And I remember watching it and just being like, "Yes, this is awesome."
Dude, yeah, like freaking, there was a debate on which game trailer was the best, and like ODST, I got flack because I said Halo 3 Believe trailer or campaign was better. And man, like I said, even that one still gets me pumped up today.
Yeah, I think I know there's companies out there that make kits to do like the Halo Halo weapons kits to where you can do them and you can send out. I don't know how they do it or like what weapons they're using as a platform of it, but I've seen them do like the Halo assault rifle and the Halo submachine gun, a few other platforms like that. And if any company ever makes those widely available on the market, I will 100% buy one.
Oh yeah, have you seen the kid that built the shotgun? Like he prototyped the 8-gauge hippo.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Is like if I could find something like that, like commercially available, I will 100% buy it.
That was awesome. Yeah, and like I said, I've kind of made my own little SMG from ODST. I don't know if I've showed you that, but
Is that the Recover Tactical brace you've got?
Yes, the Recover Tactical brace. Oh man, like I said, it's actually not that fun to shoot. That 45 has a lot more recoil on a brace like that than you would think.
So I actually had a Recover Tactical brace for my Glock 34 at one point, and very similar setup to yours. And that thing was a lot of fun, and it was really cool to have like a nice little backpack gun. But man, that thing sucks to shoot.
I know, man. Like I said, you wouldn't think that much recoil would be like going back, but there's a good bit of recoil coming back.
Well, and you just have to like bury your cheekbone into what little part of brace there is there, and to get down on the sights. And I mean, you're almost better off just point shooting it like for comfort at that point, because it just beats the crap out of your cheek.
And then I was running the can on it, and it was like straight gas.
Yeah, yeah, that had a whole nother level to it. I never got around to suppressing mine, but I mean, I thought it was super cool when I first got it, because like my thing was I wanted a brace, but I didn't want to have to pay like the $300 for a Flux Raider type of deal, or like the Flux Defense braces, because they had a similar setup, and the Recover Tactical was like $100. And I was like, oh, might as well try it. Yeah, I loved that thing, man. It was I always used to joke around. The forward mag grip that they had, I would mount it on the top left-hand side like a stin, just for aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I always make like Brit jokes and stuff every time I do that. So, yeah, those things are fun.
Yeah, like I said, I've enjoyed it. It's cool. Like I even got the Chris. I have a Glock 21 in my Recover, and I got the Chris Glock extension for the Chris Vector. So got it.
Doesn't it make it like a 50-round magazine at that point?
It's 30 rounds.
See, I think the 9's a 50, but yeah, that's ridiculous. That thing's got to be ridiculously heavy. A 30 round, 45 caliber magazine.
It's a little bulky, but it looks cool.
Yeah, modern day Tommy gun right there. Yeah, looks are half the battle, man.
That's it. Looks are half the battle.
Looks are half the battle.
But going off on the ODST thing, like there's a huge, pretty big group of ODST guys that are like into the tactical side. And like I said, we're all in a little group together, and they're super awesome, man. They're very creative, very supportive, and like I said, they're awesome.
I just have to say, when SHTF happens, and there's a bunch of Southern accented men roaming around in tactical gear, then half tactical, half ODST gear, I'm going to be terrified.
I don't know if you've seen where I shared it the other day. One of the guys is actually 3D printing health packs, but they're IFAKs underneath.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really, really cool, man.
I am so glad that I live in an era where like the tactical community is blending a little bit with like a cosplay community and the sci-fi community. And we're just going to come up with these epic things from our childhood and make them a reality.
That's it, man. That's what it's about, right? Having the dream.
Yeah, this is the best time to be alive. I just imagine, like, can you imagine going back to the 1800s and trying to explain any of this?
Well, what is it? It's cosplaying until it's not.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, hey man, it's been good chatting with you. I appreciate you filling in so we could put this episode out. For those that aren't aware, Mike's not with us again today. He's busy moving. He's in the middle of a move, so he wasn't able to make it. So Hart was nice enough to kind of fill in for me, so we could still put out an episode to you guys, and a little bit more of just kind of a back and forth talking session. So nothing too structured this time. We will hopefully be back on track in the future, but in the meantime, definitely go check this dude out. The Drunken ODST and Sleepwalker Hart. I'll have his links on the description of this. So check him out. Cool dude, worth the follow. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Yeah, I'm sorry for all the weird, awkward conversation, but that's who I am. So
Yeah, it's all good, man. We've all been there.
But thanks
All
for
right,
having me
brother.
on, man. Like I said, I always enjoy talking to you, and thanks for always lending me an ear when I have a rant or something.
No worries, man. That's what we're here for. I think that's the best thing about this is like, building those honest friendships where you're there to answer questions and there to actually talk to each other and kind of help each other out. I think that's the best part about this. I think that people can say what they want, but I think we are slowly building an actual sense of community. And I really hope that is, of all the things that are out there dividing people, I hope that that's some one thing that we can all kind of unite over.
Oh, absolutely, man. Like I said, it's like I said, ever since I got on Instagram, like I said, I get more and more people that know me, talk to me more about it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of into this. And that, like I said, they ask me what they think or what I think. And, just, more networking, in local area.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, it's been great talking to you. Have a good rest of your night, man. And I will talk to you later.
See you, bud. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for everyone for listening to Mid-Tier Thoughts.